Ho-hum. I'm tired after a long day's work of plumbing. Let's open this here paper to see what Publius and Brutus have to say about what our men in Philadelphia are up to today. These fellows don't make any sense. Where are they getting these crazy complicated ideas from? No one has explained any of this to me. I just don't see why I should care.
Woof! Bam!
Whoa! Who are you?
I am the ghost of ideologies past. I represent 1,000 years of thought, the great minds of millennia, the history of human civilization, and the society of centuries. And I am here to enlighten you, Joe the Plumber.
Well, what does this have anything to do with me? Can't I just read my paper in peace? Go away.
There's everything to do with everything, and much to do with you. Without me, you cannot hope to understand the American political system. I am here to show you its philosophical and historical foundations.
But what are the philosophical and historical foundations of the American political system?
Behold, history! Woof! Plumber Joe, meet Cato.
What's up with this guy? Why is he wearing a bedsheet?
This man is from the great city of Rome during the Roman Republic. In Rome, they believed in something called civic virtue, something that is part of our system today. Cato, hit it!
Let me tell you about something, young man. Each man must value the good of the state above the good of himself. Each man must be involved in the governance of the state. In Rome, we had a system of democracy that helped with this. Men must vote, act, and fight for their state. What pity is that we can die but once to serve our country. Live uncorrupted by power, and die with liberty and honor.
So it's like how people must be involved in the world around them, and responsible for the health of their state.
That's just it, Joe. You see, Joe, civic virtue led to a stable and healthy republic in Rome. But it's not all about the group. Individuals are important too, Joe. Where is the father of humanism? Petrarch?
Poof! Oh, hey, sup, ghost of the past. What do you need me for?
Sup, Petrarch? Tell this fine man about what it means to be human.
Oh! What, another man who doesn't recognize his own power? And men go about to wonder at the heights of the mountains, and the mighty waves of the sea, and the wide sweep of the rivers, and the circuit of the ocean, and the revolution of the stars, but they themselves consider not. We are the masters of our own destinies, Joe. You may decide of your own free will what life you are going to lead.
Amen, brother.
Martin Luther!
You don't need anyone to put you in connection with God. Read the Bible, be virtuous, and make your own decisions. Poof!
But what does all this have to do with our government? And what our good men in Philadelphia are doing? I still don't understand.
Well, the framers are trying to create a constitution based off these principles, Joe. As Cato said, people must be involved in their governance and work towards the common good. But this must also be balanced by an emphasis on individual worth, just as Petrarch and Luther said.
But how are my rights going to be protected? I don't want a government that can just do whatever it wants. And how are governments made in the first place? What do you need in a government?
Glad you asked, Joe.
No, damn it! I can do what I want. I don't need to listen to you whiny barons.
No king can trample on the rights of his subjects. You know we've always been entitled to fair treatment, and now that we've got our rights in writing, we'll make sure that you can't break the rules. We've made a deal and we'll hold you to it!
Bah!
Be part of government!
Fine, but it won't last long. Just you wait! Ah!
Oh my.
But you know, the great thing is, Joe, it did last long. It took a lot of work and time, but this document, the Magna Carta, became part of what governed England.
So, governments are based off of contracts.
I've got just the man to explain this part to you, Joe. John Locke.
Poof! You're born with 3 natural rights: life, liberty, and estate.
Property.
Whatever, I say estate. Anyway, in a state of nature, without government, you would have complete freedom. But since other people have complete freedom too, they would threaten your natural rights. People form a government to protect their natural rights, and in return for this protection, they agree to obey the government and give up some of their freedom. That's a social contract.
So that's what government is for, eh? This is all starting to make sense. I've heard that fine fellow T-Pain talking about Locke in his pamphlets. but I never heard it straight out of the guy himself. Rather.
Right, but remember, just because a social contract exists does not mean your rights are safe. If the government breaks its end of the deal by failing to uphold people's rights, the people have the right to establish a new government.
Like what we did with King George a few years back. Oh, good lord, it's all making sense now.
That's just it, Joe. I think my work here is done. Boop.
But wait, I still don't know what to think about this here Constitution. How do I know it's going to keep all these ideas alive? Hello? How can I help you? You need any plumbing done? I'm happy to personally service your pipes day or night. Wait, you're not a client, you're Benjamin Franklin.
Bam! That's right, Joe. I've just been teleported from Philadelphia, and I have some special information for you. I'm what's happening. I'm the president. I'm here to show you everything you need to know about what's going down in Philly.
The ghosts of ideologies past told me a lot of stuff about how government is supposed to work. Where can I find all that stuff in the Constitution?
Well, Joe, to start out, let's look at the classical Republican ideals Cato told you about. The preamble says that the goals of the Constitution are to form a more perfect union and promote the general welfare. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 also gives Congress the power to make citizens pay taxes. That is, individuals have to make a personal sacrifice to pay for the systems that help the whole country.
Go what? Pay for public services? What about my freedom?
Don't worry, Joe. On the whole, the Constitution is a pretty individualistic document. Remember Petrarch? He would approve of the fact that the U.S. government isn't allowed to punish anyone for treason committed by their family members, as stated in Article 3, Section 3. And your friend Luther would be happy that no religious tests would be a requirement for holding public office.
Wait, John Locke told me that government exists to protect our natural rights. Is there anything in the Constitution to protect my life, liberty, and property?
Ah, so you want to claim your individual rights, eh?
Claim? I own my rights.
Oh, so you claim to own them? Never mind. There are many who would say that natural rights don't need to be protected in writing because they're so inherent. There are some fundamental rights, the freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, that work to keep your natural rights safe. A lot of folks say they won't support the Constitution unless we add something to keep those rights safe. So a Bill of Rights is being worked on as we speak. And just so you know, it's going to include a provision that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, just like in the Magna Carta.
So my rights are safe. What a relief.
Quite so, my good fellow. But what do you think of our Constitution? You know, government authority comes from the consent of the governed. This document means nothing if it's not approved by people like you.
Well, I support that. This Constitution is sounding pretty damn good.
Excellent. That's all I need to hear, my boy. I'll tell the others that we're good to go.
Wait, where are you going?
Back to Philadelphia!
Jesus, this is so weird.
Bam!
Another one?
Well, duh. I mean, really, do you think that past and present would just show up without me? My dear Plumber, the future is in your hands. I am here to advise you on it.
But I'm just a plumber. What does all this constitutional nonsense have to do with me?
Why, it has everything to do with you. Don't you want to ensure that your country is going in the right direction? Take the healthcare bill, for example. That's coming up in, a few hundred years. Oh, look, it's President Obama here to instruct us.
Oh, hey there, Joe the Plumber. Long time no see. Shaking off Sarah Palin yet?
Who?
Mr. President, this is a different incarnation of Joe the Plumber.
But what's this about a healthcare bill? Why should I care?
Oh, Joe, don't you see? Having universal health care is like civic virtue up the wazoo. Everyone has the right to be healthy. It's a group right.
Hey, that's inspirational and all, but what about my individual rights? I shouldn't have to pay for this damn insurance if I don't want it.
But remember what good old Cato said. Don't you want to promote the overall good of society? In order for this thing to work, we all have to be involved. Perhaps this is a situation in which it is best put forth the needs of the group. Yes, we can.
What a perfect cue. Now here's a fun idea. Enlightened self-interest.
Enlightened self-interest? What's that?
I think I'll have my good friend Alexis de Tocqueville explain that one.
Poof. You rang?
Hey there, Frenchie. Explain to this young man this enlightened self-interest thing.
My favorite. Well, enlightened self-interest is the idea that individuals may act to serve the interests of others, which will ultimately serve their own interests. It's great! You keep your individual rights and interests, all while spewing civic virtue and community service. You protect the rights of others to protect your own. Reminds me of when I visited America that one time.
Well, there you have it. In order to keep a well-functioning society in the future, we must care not just about ourselves, but about all of society. Of course, that's not to say that individual liberty should be cast aside. You, as a citizen, must exercise your rights in order to ensure that you keep them. It's all about claiming and owning, man.
But what would happen if we didn't have all this stuff? I mean, what if our Constitution didn't protect individual or group rights? What if people just did whatever they wanted without any regard for the interests of others?
Have you ever been paying attention at all? I mean, really, we ghosts go through a lot of trouble to hunt you confused citizens. It's not all la-di-da. I'm a ghost. I don't have any feelings.
Sorry. Jeez, just asking.
Well, remember what that nice man John Locke said. It would be a state of nature. Everyone would have absolute freedom, which could turn into chaos.
Chaos! Absolute madness! Damn evil human beings need to be put in their place by a nice absolute monarchy!
Shoot! No one wants to hear that, Hobbs. What did I tell you about crashing these things? Scat! Anyway, it would be madness. Having a constitutional government bound by the rule of law protects our natural rights. But we can't just rely on the government to get everything done. We have to be involved in order to have a well-ordered future. Enlightened self-interest. Civic virtue. Bam! Poof!
You know, I think I'm gonna go do some voting.